You've had 38 seconds of uninterrupted epidemic sound instrumental, royalty free, copyright free. We're allowed to play it in the background and not get canceled. It's funny, Facebook Live and YouTube Live, they search the internet. And if you got something going on that you don't have the authority to rebroadcast, it cancels you. It stops you. it drops your streaming. Yeah, one time I had the wrong music in the background. Facebook bailed out right away, said copyright violation, message on that. It was a mistake, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, so, the industry is policing itself. Yeah. Streamer's best friend is the internet. Yeah. All kinds of things going on here. When I look at my... let me show you this picture right here. That very tip is supposed to be green, but there's so much light on there. There's another one. The stick is actually standing straight up, sort of at an angle. It's not laying in the mulch there. Can almost see right to this very tip. There it is, right there. Yeah. This last picture, I can actually move it around. Yeah, you can almost see it's green when I hold it over to blue. The miracles of the Apple technology. Look how it just grabbed that stick and pulled it away from the background. Yeah. Well, that's not the most exciting thing. No. So you probably already know that the Fed just cut the interest rates yesterday for the third straight time by 1/4 point. So the prime rate, which in these low numbers is 300 basis points over the Federal Reserve rate of 3 3/4, not 6 3/4. Prime rate is 6 3/4. If you see this Google message, your Gmail is under attack. All right. Trump is hell-bent for election. Pardon the expression. To deport. Get these guys that were let in, ship them out. His guys are collecting, they're collecting them up and putting them on planes and they're out. They don't have papers? So here this kid's got a smartwatch on instead of a phone. When it comes to kids. Now if your smartwatch has... Excuse me while I turn. What's going on here? We can turn down Epidemic just a tad. I can't hear myself think. Whatever that means. Yeah, all right. So the neat thing about the Apple Watch, I happen to have one right here. What time is it? Yeah. It is 11:08, 33, 34, 35. There we are. Now we can see Jimmy and what's going on elsewhere. So the neat thing about the watch is that when the teachers and the principals and the officials at the school say that it's no phones in the classroom, put them in your backpack and put the backpack in your locker. Yeah, you see, but the kid's got a watch. And the watch, you can call on the watch. You can, your phone doesn't have to be in the proximity of the watch anymore, because the watch has its own data line in it. Now it'll use the phone number that's part of the phone, your iPhone. Because the iPhone and the watch are married together, so to speak. So the watch can be bought with cellular, which means that it has this data line, which then can be associated. Trying to think of the right vocabulary words here. It would be associated with your iPhone. So if you called the phone, in theory it would be ringing in the kid's locker, but it'd also be buzzing on the kid's wrist. So that's strapped to his wrist, as we can see right here. So you can see the advantage of giving the kid the watch with the cellular system. Now, let's see. If you had the watch, Facebook just bailed out again. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. 9 minutes into the broadcast and they disappear. I hope you were listening on YouTube. YouTube Live is the place to go. I'm going to start announcing that in the beginning of my broadcast, so that way if people are listening on Facebook, they can go to their browser, type in the word YouTube, and then you can put youtube.com and then a space in your search window. Let's try it. I'm going to pull down in the middle I'm just going to put my finger in the middle of my, right there in the middle where there's no icon. And I'm going to pull down. And what happens? You get the search engine opens up. Now I'm going to type YouTube, youtube.com. Then I'm going to give a space, and then FAU for you. Let's see what happens. Press enter. Boing. Okay. Oh, I didn't type it right. I got YOUI. Yeah, YouTube.com with a space and FAU for you. Let's hit enter again. All right. There we go. 450 likes. 48,200 visitors. Let's just go down here in the very bottom where it says YouTube with this little arrow. It'll just give a big search engine thingy here. You see it says Jim Wilson, Jim Wilson, Jim Wilson. Welcome to Jim Wilson. There you go. See, that's what I want. 523, 9 views, 48,000, 50,000 followers. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's type so we can touch on any one of those. So it works. All right, let's do AI mode. See what happens here. It's thinking. All right, I just went through tens of thousands of looks. YouTube.you directs you to the YouTube channel to Jim Wilson. Yes, it does. Yeah. 568 videos and primarily focused on content related to Florida Atlantic University. Not exactly. Where Jim Wilson was the adjunct faculty for 20 years. Not was, is. I'm not dead yet. The content includes live simulcasts and various playlists. Would you like to link to a specific playlist? No. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right, let's just touch one of these. See what happens. There you go. So this is the May 23rd edition. For some reason, that one popped up. But once you get to YouTube, if you get to YouTube, there's YouTube Premium. Optimus breaking news. There you go. Breaking, Elon Musk just dropped new Tesla bot demo. Let's click on that. You can see it. Oh, this guy's talking about it. The brighter. He is talking away, isn't he? And there's a robotics expert sitting there, listening to what Herbert Hong is talking about. Okay, all right. We're looking at a bunch of things on it. Anyway, he's really quite good. I listen to him all the time. Yeah, he's one of my go-to guys. AI mode, there you go. So I just wanted to show you that you can go right to YouTube if you get dumped from what do you call it, Facebook. Yeah, that's kind of amazing, huh? All right. So a smartwatch is a nice thing to put on a kid. Now, yeah, I guess what if you had a smartwatch and you didn't have an iPhone and you had a cellular watch? Could you dial that number? That would be the question always. Could the watch serve as essentially a standalone iPhone? I know that the watch will work. You can talk. You can use it like it's an iPhone. Assuming you had your iPhone somewhere else. It would, in theory, use the telephone number of the iPhone. Now, what if you didn't own an iPhone? How would that work? I can't tell you because I have an iPhone. The only way I could tell you is next year when I get the new Apple Watch, if I get a new Apple Watch, before I link it to my phone, I'm going to see if I can. I think the paperwork that comes with the iPhone package will show you the data line number. Well, it's kind of even linked from the factory. All right. I don't know if I can even tell you a year from now. I would have to ask the question. I have a feeling you can't use the watch as a phone if it's not linked to an active phone number with an iPhone. It has to be an active number. Yeah. I think that will be the ruling. I don't think they're permitting Apple Watches to serve as iPhones if you don't have an iPhone. Can you make and receive calls on your watch if you don't own an iPhone? I know you can buy the watch. There's an app that links to the watch, so the things that happen with the iPhone, get carried onto the watch. If you never had an iPhone to begin with, I'm not too sure what would happen with the watch or the watch app. And since you didn't have an iPhone, you wouldn't see the watch app. I can't see the watch app on my iPad. So the Apple Watch doesn't pair up with any device. It has to be an iPhone. Now, if you don't have an iPhone, and you can see the time of day and everything, and the question is, how do you deal with your watch faces? If you didn't have that watch app. Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I can see my blood sugar. I can see the amount of miles that's remaining. I can see the energy in the battery in my. There you go. I can touch that. 145. There's the Tesla car. It is parked. And I got 145 miles of range. And everything's closed. Trunk is closed. I can hook the horn from my watch. I can flash the lights from my watch. Not too sure why I'd want to do that, but you know, if you were walking around the house and you looked out the window and someone's like messing with your car, you could flash the lights and honk the horn, and maybe that would scare somebody off from breaking your window. You know, some stupid people don't realize that there's cameras all the way around the car. So as you approach the car, even from 10 feet away, the cameras are rolling. Oh yeah, the Sentry mode is on. Yeah, I have all kinds of little clips of people just walking near the car just because they passed between my car and, you know, in the parking lot. People just walking by, it activates the Sentry. Records a little clip. You know, that seems meaningless, but if all of a sudden your car is damaged, you can see who damaged it. And you give it to the police and let them figure it out. All right. Interesting little tidbit of some kind. This is pictures, yeah. There you go. I'm trying to get this. There we go. Fitted correctly on the screen so you can see it. There you go. Prince Harry is allegedly laying the groundwork for a royal court that will rival Prince William's. Really? Where's he doing that? Is he going back into the royal family? I think that's what he should do. Yeah, forget about I don't know, he ran off with, you know, the star of that, of Suits, the female, one of the female stars. I forget her name. Anyway, he basically left the royal family and wrote a book, insulted everybody. They hate him. The pomp and circumstance. That unruly fellow, get him out. Out. He needs to get back in there. He can claim mental cruelty with having to deal with the Princess Diana, which is his mother, right? I remember we ate. Marilyn and I had dinner on the island of Palm Beach, would you believe? When Princess Diana was in that tunnel in France, I believe, and died in the ambulance. She had the impact of the crash was so traumatic, it popped her aorta, and she bled out internally. You know, there wasn't anything you can do, quite frankly. You can't set up an operating team and open her up and look around to see what popped. You know, it's I don't think it's possible. So there's some kind, you know, there's some injuries you just can't fix. So the ambulance just stopped in place and picked her up and gave her the best treatment that you could possibly give a human being of the royal family like that, married to the potential king of England. And his father is dying of cancer right now, so And Harry's in line. Certain people have to die. I think he's fifth in line. So you got 4 people that have to get pushed out of the way before he would take to the throne. I think he hasn't given that up. I think he's still in line at the throne. I'm patient through photos here. This guy says, I'm a first-time flyer, and this 8K drone made my first flight effortless. Well, I can tell you, I have a DJI drone right down there in a little package. And I could show you. Oh boy. Let's see if I can do that. All right, here goes. This is live TV. I'm going to shut this down. And I'm going to go full screen on my video. And I'm going to reach down here. Hopefully, there's not too much crashing and banging. It's going to be... stuff dependent. Here we go. Here's the case. It's not that big. All right, I have to move this out of the way. I'll sit back a little bit so I can keep my... So there's the case. It looks like it's huge. It's not huge. It's 14 inches by 12 inches, something like that. It's a Nanook 915 case. You can Google that. Nanook. See the little Canadian maple leaf thing? Made in Canada. They're magical. They're styled after the Pelican made their cases. I mean, it is a super strong some kind of a polyethylene material. Now I can just lift up on this. The camera is over here. So, yeah, you can see everything. Here's the 3 batteries. Let's see what kind of case we got here. Oh, here's the 3 battery. Oh yeah, let's just happen to have a cable over here. We'll plug that in. How nice is that? Since we have it out, the little green light came on. Let's put the old charger-oonie on the batteries. While we're sitting around here, I'll put that over here on my table on the. Keep it out of the way. Here's Mr. Drone. The battery slides right in there. So when you buy the Fly More kit, Fly More, FLYMORE. So when you go to DJI.com, whoops, let's not break any propellers. There's a couple of little notes. Down there we have some legs. I took the legs off. There you can see the legs. They just fit on there. I have them stuffed in a little cavity right there. So that this whole thing closes up nice. And here's a little. It shows you how to put the legs on. Landing gear extensions. That's what those are. I mean, you look at this thing, it weighs like nothing. Yeah, I mean, you'd think it seems like the battery weighs more than this thing. The whole weight, if it's under 250 grams, they ought to expand that number a little bit, give DJI a break. Each of these has 2 propellers on it, and they screw on with a little screwdriver. Precision motors connected to those propellers. Yeah, I'm just inspecting each propeller. Of course, when they spin, the propellers they're special. They have little tips on them. Colorations on the tips. The purpose in that is to make them so they're not so noisy. This is you take this off, and then here's the camera. Yep. It's on a gimbal. This is upside down. So here's the camera. It can face straight down. It can face up. This is on an amazing multi-axis. You can see that moving around. Anyway, but when it's in the storage case, you gotta watch out for the propellers here. You put this doodad on there, and it protects you from accidentally banging into that camera. Now, if I can put this on in such a way as to not close up the camera. There we go. Here's the battery situation. So they're clipped into this triple super duper charger situation. And they just slide in. They slide in one way only. It's marked on there 249 grams. You just plug that in until it snaps and you're good to go. You have to lift the props out of the way to unsnap the battery. Oh, there it is. So, just squeeze it on here and pull the battery out. I just want to put that back in the charger. Since I got this thing out, we might as well put the charge on these batteries. Alright, we're going to fold we're going to twist really this. Done some serious thinking about how to have this doodad work. And we're going to just make sure the propellers are all in place. And then this case is cut out device. And then this is the controller with the built-in screens, the best controller you can get. It's got little doodads here. Oops, hold it this way. It too has a battery. So I guess I should I'm looking for an extra wire. I think I can find one. Alright, so, and over here we have wires and charging devices all tucked in there. Little instruction thing in case you forgot what to do. This is, you could drop this out of a tall building and it would survive. These are little neutral density filters. So in case you got super bright, this is a multi-pack. Yeah, you can slip these filters right on the front of the camera. I think I have one already installed. So I'm going to close this puppy back up. I wasn't going to turn it on, I just wanted to show you. I have a drone already here. So my friend Bill Morris says, let's drive out to this site and I can fly this baby over the site, record it, and then we could get back, meet at a coffee shop somewhere. A couple of bags went down when I pulled that out. There we go. Anyway, so here's the batteries. And there's little lights. It charges this battery, then it goes to this battery, then it goes to this battery. Now this is a high performance battery that there we go, whoops, whoopsie. This battery is heavier than this battery. It's a few grams heavier. It's marked on here, if you can see. And right on my finger, it says 249. Right there, if you look. 249 grams. So when this is in the drone, it complies with the federal regulation on the 249 grams. This, however, is, I marked it 18 or 81. I'm not too sure what. But this battery has a little more in here in the very fine print. That print is so fine. It is mighty fine. But you know, you can write on these things with a magic marker. Anyway, I've got two high capacity batteries, I believe. This is 121. I'm pretty sure I got 2 high capacity batteries. And this last one is the ultralight battery that came, like installed in the drone. So it started charging this one first, so the system keeps going back to it, so it's all right. So we got all 3 in there. Well, all 3 lights are flashing. Now it's back to finish charging this one up. You don't want these batteries to go to 0. So that is being recharged. And let's see if there's some juice in this cable. There is. There it is, it's charging. All right. It has its own screen, perfect condition. Yeah, I have some. It costs a few $100 more to get this with the built-in screen. You can buy the drone with a little clamper, so you can connect your iPhone and use the display and the computing power of the iPhone. Or you can get it with the screen, and then your iPhone can be separate. You don't want to run your phone out of power, right? With all the video activity with a drone, when you can buy this controller with the screen built right into it. Now, if you really, I had goggles, really good ones. I think it was $500. Yeah, I sold them. I tested them out for 35 days and then sold them while they were still in warranty. But if you're a drone guy, if you wear the goggles, and of course the camera is active in the drone when you take off, and you have the goggles on and you're looking at what's going on with the goggles on your face, you swear you're in the cockpit of that little tiny drone. You just got miniaturized and you're sitting in the cockpit of their drone. It is the most unbelievable experience. So you got goggles on, right? Oh my God. Now there's no sound, so it's a silent movie, but you're flying around like your head is inside the front of that drone. And you turn left and you turn left, and then you turn right, and then you go up, and then you go down. It is the most immersive experience. But if you're looking at real estate, if you're a real estate guy and you're looking, you can fly that drone over the, what would be the 4 corners of that site, and you can have the camera angled down 90 degrees would be straight down. So you're flying over something, like a satellite view, as if you were Google Maps. But you could tilt it up just a little bit. So instead of straight down, up a little bit. So when you're flying, you get more of a three-dimensional look at the 4 corners of the site, if it's a rectangular site, for example. Anyway, if you have goggles on, the experience is breathtaking, to say the least. And you can have goggles, and then you can have the controller. So you can have a pilot holding this controller and give the goggles to someone that's with you, and they can visualize what I'm speaking about. And I can see what's going on the screen on this controller device that I'm currently charging also. You see the lights flashing. It's 75%. So the batteries these were down pretty good, so it's going to take a while to charge all three of these. So I'm going to take this little, so that's a 3 battery charger. I mean, the technology this is really serious stuff that they make. This whole drone package with the Fly More kit, which you get the 3 battery chargers, and you get 2 extra batteries. You know, when you buy the drone, you get one battery. For an extra couple $100, you get the Fly More kit included, and it includes this 3-thing charger and 2 extra batteries, plus a couple extra propellers, and there's a few other things that are in that Fly More kit. But for $200, you have to do that. If you don't want to do that, you shouldn't get the drone to begin with. But DJI produces some spectacular. Let's do it here. DJI. I have 4 icons that pop up. Support. I forget what you call this thing. There's a name for it. Here's the little goggles. The D5 Phantom 4 with goggles. Yeah, I had it. I tell you. Ooh, Lordy. Here's some pictures. If you can see that now. All right, let's see what we have to do here. There we go. All I have to do is, there we go. Swap cameras. So I put display on the left, so you can see. That whole design there, where you can, this darker piece, you can pull it off if it's a neutral density filter, which I have on there, which just cuts down the brightness a little bit, because those cameras are so sensitive. Mini 3 Pro, this might be what I have. There you go. It's got these 2 things in the front are sensors that keep the drone from flying into things. There's a couple down here on the bottom. This drone has 3 cameras in the front, as you can see right there. That's the Mavic 3 Pro. Slightly bigger drone. There's a Phantom 4. I had that one, $1,500 item. Tried it out for about 80 days and sold it to someone in Key West. There's the camera that hangs from the Phantom. It's the Phantom 4. Yep. And you could so we can land on these things. So you can just grab that stirrup. You know, it's a bigger drone, bigger battery. This is the new 8K drone. I don't know if that's doesn't look like a DJI drone. There's DJI, you can see the letters on there. It's a tiny Neo. And you can see the fan blades are protected by those, the cabinetry a little bit. Keep your hands from getting in there and getting hit by the blades. See the camera in the front here. Place for the battery. Slips in that way. And you can see it in relation to a iPhone. So you can see the size and weight of it. And here's, you're flying up to the walls of the medieval Avila fortification. Look at that. Keep people out. Protect the citizens inside. There you go, Mavic Mini. That's what I got. That's there's the Phantom. This is an experimental one, or it was manufactured with a specific. See here, you can change the lenses, and you can see the electronics. That's the imager, so that the autofocus and so forth, and the zoom control can all be connected to the lens through those electronic gold-tipped things that line up with the same thing on the lens. You see there's a red dot there, you line it up, just screw it right on there. There's the Mavic 4. Side view where you can plug it in. The smaller port is the C port. This other one to the left, that's where you put in a little card, memory card. The cards are so small. Yeah, there you go. In flight. See the little green light on. Yeah. With that camera package hanging down below. There you go. There's a little video screen of what's going on outside our unit. With the blimp overhead. You see the blimp? There you go. The blimp is flying overhead. It's going to jerk back. This is on like a continuous loop mode. Yep, there you go. Starts over again. So here we're looking at the Boca Hotel, and we're watching the blimp overhead. There we go. Yeah. See the traffic. There's a bus going by. A little video. All right, well, that's the drone business. What's going on with the stock market. Anything exciting? Well, the Dow Jones is up about 1%. I can take should be on the 1-day mode. There you go, 1 day. So we can do that in dollars and cents. It's up 492 points so far as of roughly noon today. There you go. It updates every few minutes. All the stocks that I'm following are down. You see, they're all in red. Apple is down. This is all in dollars. Tesla's down $8 on the day now. It's just a day. How is it compared to the week? I can touch week. Let's see, week. Yeah. Sometime in the afternoon of the 9th, 9, 10, 11, 3 days ago. Let's hit Tesla. Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, the 8th and the 9th. Late in the trading day of the 8th, you can see it was down to 441, and now it's 442. So up a buck, down a buck. We look at 6 months. It's had a 111-point increase over the 6-month period. Okay, but as far as today's concerned, that's where we're at. I heard a suggestion somewhere where take the $42 billion you have in cash and go buy a big stake in Apple. Apple's at $270 a share. Let's touch on it. PE ratio is 37. For a huge company, it's a $4 trillion company. $4 trillion. That's with a T. You can see 4.107 trillion. 4 trillion, 107 billion. It's amazing. Yeah. So I told Daniel, just buy one share every month if you can possibly do it. Buy a share every month. 12 months, you got 12 shares. 2 years, you got 24 shares. Every year, you get another 12 shares. Yeah. 10 years, you got hundreds of shares. Well, when 20 years, that's 240. You got 240 shares. Do the math. 240 shares. 240. 240 times $500 a share. That's $120,000 in value. And who knows, the stock could be, according to the geniuses I'm listening to, it could be, so if you got 240 shares with 20 years worth of buying a share of stock every month, let's just say you bought 240 shares, times $500 a share. Oh, geez. Maybe I already did that. Yeah, $120,000, yeah. But 240 times. It could be $5,000 a share. Or the stock could split. Well, let's just say it's $5,000 a share. You know, and don't split the shares. Equals. That's $1 million too. So it can turn out to be some real money. As part. This will just be part of your assets. There we go. You just shut down a few of these things. Got too many things open at once. That takes up a lot of juice. Pictures, though. Get rid of that. My blood sugar is 160. 154. We'll keep that going. That's pretty nice to have that just lingering around in the background there. We're covered up a little bit with the stock. Yeah. Just move it over here so I can see it. And here's some stories. These are the top positions in Warren Buffett's portfolio. Let's see what they are. Oh, they want you to buy some. Yeah, I just X out. When I get one of these things, I just subscribe to this and then you can see what I wrote. I don't think so. These are just some of the stocks I'm following. Tesla, Nvidia. That's just... See, the problem with Tesla is the PE ratio is 308. So when you add all these things in there that are working for, producing the BTUs, the energy cow. Back to the photos. So that's charging. We'll just put that right there like that. You can see the little lights flashing. This little package is charging over here. The battery is, number one battery is about 50% charged. We can just lay that baby down right there. And I can reach over here to where I need to reach so I can control my streaming device here, since I'm live and in color. There's our buddy Mr. Marco Rubio. Yeah. Secretary of State. Third in line to the presidency. Yeah. You got President, Vice President, Secretary of State. That's why he sits right next to the president. In the everyone sits in the pecking order, in the precise position, sitting around that table is the line of succession. Yeah, that's the way they're positioned at the table. Very much on purpose. Yeah. So you can just look at the table and you can see all the people that essentially could fill in with the president if the president was disabled in some way. So Marco Rubio sent out a bulletin, and he said, all State Department employees shall be using New Times Roman, the font shown below here. You can see New Times Roman in the normal font, the italics font, and the bold font, instead of this Calibri business, which someone told, which is expressed by the LGBTQ community. They changed the font to Calibri. Well, Rubio is changing the fonts back to New Times Roman. Yeah. You don't like it? Go work somewhere else. You're working in the U.S. State Department. The font is... The batteries are charging, like it or not. New Times Roman. I don't know why that screen goes down so low, so quickly. State Department has told everybody those are the fonts you use. If you're doing any State Department work, that's what you have to do. You don't like it? Tush. What else we got going? We got the glasses. They're trying to get those glasses right. This looks pretty good. Well, apparently Optimus fell over. And it was on a video of some sort. So you can, let's see if we can find it. The nice thing about the photos, you can just touch there you go. And look it up. See, it says look up. Let's look it up. Let's see if we can find that video. We're going to search the web. We want to know. This is going to be I think he's handing out water and he just falls backwards. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like he got pushed. Oh well, I can't find the link, so no worries. Anyway, that's how you can search for the link. You just had to touch one of those other tabs. I saw it. The thing just went backwards. I couldn't tell whether it ran out of power. It didn't seem to be that anyone pushed it. So some kind of circuitry stopped working. When I pulled the plug on it. Does it matter which HDMI port you use on your TV? Well, it sure does. You want to plug the in on the in and the outie on the outie. Not very complicated. Yeah, you got enough cojones to take the phone apart. iFixit. Yeah, good place to go. You watch them take apart a phone instead of taking apart your own. If you need to take apart your phone, this will show you how to open it up and take the glass off with little suction cup thingies and pull it apart. And since the iPhone is working right here behind you, there we go. Let me just leave it alone. First battery is almost fully charged. apparently there's a new version of your the Tesla app for your iPhone. So you go there and just that circle that says open, it'll say update when you get to it. So you go to the App Store, hit the magnifying glass over there on the top right screen, your screen there, and just type in your Tesla, T-E-S-L-A. First on the list, Tesla. Just touch it. Here's Tesla. That's why that's on there. Version 4.5, 1.5. Came out 4 days ago. Something to do with the dog mode live activity. Custom wraps and tints support, so you can alter the view of your phone when you turn on the phone. Anyway, drive a Tesla, you want to do that. There you go. That's why that photo is there. Here's some glasses you can buy. There's a Finnish, meaning made in Finland, a Finnish startup called IXI. It's on a mission to reinvent what eyewear can be. And now it seems to zeroing in on reading glasses. So when you put these on, yeah, it's a sideways view of the glasses. Front view of the glasses. They look pretty good from this angle. Yeah. But they change magnification based on, what you got in front of you. Interesting. Any news about that? No. Apple. I'm talking about the MacBook. So, which MacBook to get? The MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro? That's the question of the hour. I had to determine that myself. There was a point in time where I had one of each. I have a computer and I have a backup. That's all. That's all. This looks like, this is the MacBook Air. I have it right there. It's a solid, it's a beautiful, it has 3 ports on the side, and it has a special charging wire with this multi-prong doodad that clips on to the magnetic, hangs in there pretty tight. You can see a little green light on there, yeah. So the battery is charged. I cover up the keys and all that with these black panels just to not waste any bandwidth on all the little keys, which I don't use. But once I get this Simulcast going, it pretty much, other than changing camera looks and, you know, the views and some of the camera content, you know, so here's the bottom line. The MacBook Air is the ultimate portable Mac with all-day battery life, impressive performance, and the feather-light design, a couple pounds. It's a solid sucker, you know. The thing is basically screen and battery. You got a little tiny strip of your electronics. It's amazing. You open it up. It's the whole goddamn thing is battery or screen. And then I have the iPad Pro 13-inch with the Magic Keyboard. What a combination. It's magnetically attaches to this back. It's got these 3 little dots right here, which you probably can't see. And on the back, you can see the 3 little dots right there. That's more than just battery connection. The whole keyboard and everything, all the electronics for typing into your iPad go through those 3 little dots. There's a signal that goes in there and differentiates all the different keys. So if you go into a messaging app like here, or like here, or like I'll just type one in here. See, like here, subject. Now is time for now is the time for all good men to now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. You type that over and over and over again in typing class. And that particular phrase uses your left and right hand, so in 7th grade we learned how to type. How crazy is that, huh? There you go. So we're going to send that to Newsmax. Let's see what it says. Return. I just sent it. It's going to come back with a, what? The keyword is not recognized. Please check spelling and try again. Reply stop so you don't get any answers to this stuff. Or help. Let's try help. H-E-L-P. Probably going to come back with welcome. Message and data rates may apply. Get one. Breaking news. So you get one breaking news alert every day. There you go. You can see them. They're coming every day. You get one. And it tells you what's on the show. And, 1 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. It tells you what's coming up. That's the Newsmax text thingy. And then here's a group. I've got like 15 people on this group. I sent them. Look at this photograph that I took this morning of the sunrise. The whole sky is a deep orange, and you can see the Boca Hotel building in the foreground there, and a beautiful sky in the background. That was a picture that I posted. Lift up. Well, actually, I have to go to the photo album. If I go to my photo library, right here, and let's look for that sunrise. It should be right in the beginning of this whole series. There it is. Now if I lift up on it, there you go. You can see the EXIF data. It was taken with my iPhone Pro 17 Pro Max. The ISO was 250. The lens, was at 227 millimeters. f2.8, 1/20th of a second. And then it shows where the photo was taken from. It was taken from this location on the map. From the satellite view here. There it is. There's the top of our building. I can put it in 3D mode. And then just with 2 fingers. There we go. You can tilt it so you can see all the houses here in the background. I have a friend that lives in one of those houses. Mr. Bill M. We'll call him. Here's, note the place from where I took the photo. It's on the 8th floor balcony, right? If I could put a dit, I can put a dit. Let's see. I cannot put a dit. I was looking to be able to alter this photo with not when I'm in this 3D mode. Anyway, there we go. There's aerial view from where I took the photo. You can see the golf course is right in front of me. Let's turn it this way. So now we're looking out the same way I'm looking at my balcony, looking out straight out this way. And you got these buildings, and you got the golf course. And I was looking this way, and there's the building right there. The big building is right there. See, they got some boats in the... Yeah, that's the big building right there. So I can see the big building. You can see where I took the photo from. And there's the building. And if you keep going, you get to the beach. The water. Behind the building. Yep, we're going to flip it around this way. There we go, and rotate it around. And that is, so you see the sunrise from the ocean from this spot right here. That's exactly the view that I see out my balcony. I was aimed right over there to see the hotel and the sunrise in the background. I caught it before sunrise, so you just saw the illumination. It was getting ready to rise. You can see this was done at, can we see the time? Oh, there it is. You just touch that and you get the exit data. 6:34 a.m. Right there, December 11th, 6:34 a.m. So when you look at photos that I send, if you touch this thing right here where it says Boca Raton, bingo, then it gives you all the exit data. There we go. That's from where I took the picture. We can X out of that. We can X out of that. We're back to the photo library. Yeah. There's Maduro. He better... Trump just seized a huge Venezuelan oil tanker. So he seized it, which means they got the ship and the oil is probably crude. And we'll just sail that sucker up over to, up into the Gulf of America and go up to somewhere between Houston and Texas and get over to where the refineries are in North Texas, Louisiana, right up in the top. There's a port somewhere there that can offload that crude and refine it into gasoline, jet fuel number 2, and kerosene and all the other hydrocarbons that come out of crude oil when they, what is known as fractional distillation. That is the term, the term in organic chemistry. I'm going to use the right vocabulary words here. You got biochemistry, you got organic chemistry, physical chemistry, just chemistry. I took it all, yeah. Woo! Right, I was a senior in college. I was chemistry'd up. It's a complicated topic, you know. You got a professor that talks to you 3 times a week for 2 or 3 hours at a time, and he goes through all kinds of stuff and chalkboard and, you know, how many, the mole-al and mole-or and different solutions, and, you know, it's you know, how certain chemicals react with other chemicals. Some react very quickly and some go boom. Yeah. I had somebody that his experiment blew up next to me and made me almost blind in my right eye. I couldn't see out of both eyes for a while. Not a long time, but long enough to make me very nervous about being around in laboratory environments, because things can go boom. Just enough to make it so you can't see anymore. Your eyesight's a pretty important thing. You know, you read and everything, you know, with your eyes. Yeah. And now you can navigate the internet. All right, it's 12:44. I've talked right through lunch. I've been yakking here, pausing every once in a while. I'm charging up my batteries, which you're seeing in live TV. Yeah, this first battery is almost fully charged. When it gets fully charged, then it switches and charges the middle battery. We're going to put that over there to get it out of the way. This one is charging, same thing. It's up to, see, it's like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's only 4 lights there. So it'll be 4 lights solid, not flashing, which means it's fully charged. We're not there yet, so we're just going to leave him. We'll leave him propped up against, yeah, right there, so you can see it's charging. And, this wire is connected through into the portion of my MacBook, so I don't know. Does it show up as a camera of some sort? No. Maybe because it's not on. I'll turn it on. And once you hold this power button, let's see what happens. I'm going to hold the power button down. It's on. It's going to warm up. There you go. You can see the display. Whoops, you can't see the display. Okay, you can see the display is illuminated. Let's see if we can see it here as a camera. No. Okay. So it's not recognizing it as a camera. But let's see what's going on here. It probably wants to update stuff. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it. It is a touch screen. So connection guide, let's touch that. There you go. It wants to figure out how to, it wants to connect to my DJI Mini 3 Pro. Let's hit the profile. See Jim Wilson. You probably can't see that. Hours, 3 minutes, 1 flight. Yeah. I showed it to you. Device management, let's try that. Tells you the electronic serial numbers. Activated on 1,188 days. Value added service, what does that mean? I have a replacement service that's valid. So if I were to fly this thing into a building, they just give me another one. I send back the parts, send it back in a baggie with the grass and the dirt in it and the broken thing. And they just replace the aircraft. You pay, an insurance premium up front. And you can crash them like 3 times. I've never crashed it. Alright, so we're going to go to settings. Camera view is on. Storage. Unlock geo zone, whatever that means. No unlocking license. I guess you have to have a special doodad to have that happen. Check for firmware updates. Let's do that. For sure there's a maybe you have to connect it to the I gotta go find my drone. The DJI store, you can buy stuff from this. There's more, but that would be more. Oh, here's more information. Here's the one flight that I had. I can play it. I am playing it, I just can't see it. Alright, let's go back. I had one flight for 3 minutes. That was it. Just to make sure it worked. Ding dong. Look at that, I got my little logo in there and everything. Yep. FAU 4 U. That'll be my username. There we go. Done. FAU 4 U. Remember, that's our handle here on this broadcast. Done. Failed to save information because of something. I'm logged in. I don't know why I went. Anyway, let's see if we can get out of here. There we go. Album, pixel, profile. There's the academy, so you can learn something. Location. Looking to connect to a network. I probably have to put the network information in again because I changed my router since I started with this puppy. It's a very sophisticated thing. I'm going to power that down, off, and just let this thing charge up the way it's charging. That's charging. We got everything charging. Yeah, that's amazing. I've got all the toys. Yeah. But when you're I'm not teaching at FAU anymore, but when you're teaching at FAU, when you're teaching a class in digital photography, So I give it a little segment on drones. I'm right on the edge of being able to fly the drone outside my balcony. I'm right on the edge of the geo zone that, if you're near where aircraft are taking off and landing, DJI has geofencing, so I can't fly my drone towards the airport. It'll come up against the geofence and just stop. It's like it's a transparent barrier that you cannot pass through. Yeah, they call it a geofence. And it's a fence that's based on your geography. That's why they call it a geofence. Yeah. And that's for the safety of the aircraft. You don't fly this thing into a jet engine. Of course, it would probably just. I don't think it would damage the engine. I don't know. With those titanium blades spinning at 20,000 RPM. Wow. You grind that drone up into, pulverize it. I don't think. Would it stop the engine? Who knows? A big bird, a real big bird, will screw up the engine. I don't know what would happen if a drone flew in there. Those engines are multi-million-dollar things. So it's not like, let's throw a branch in there and see what happens. No. Not when you got a multi-million-dollar doodad there. And if you have insurance, and most of those engines are covered with insurance, you have to buy insurance. 99 times out of 100, the engine doesn't need to be repaired because it sucked in the drone. Because unless you're flying your aircraft in war zones where you got a lot of drones flying around. It's supposed to have a limit of 400 feet, and then the airports, the runways, and the flight paths for the runways are geofenced by DJI. They do it for all the airports all over the country, all over the world, pretty much, for the safety of aircraft. You can fly around and near, but not where you'd be in the flight cone of takeoffs and landings. Now we're far enough away from, well, just far enough away. I mean, literally within like 200 feet of being either inside the geofenced area or outside. We're just outside of it. I think in my other apartment, I would have been inside and you couldn't use the drone in the building. I can actually put my drone on my high top table that's sitting out in the balcony and just put the drone on there and take off from the balcony. I could do that today. I don't feel like it. I might some other day when we have a live broadcast from the balcony. Anyway, the batteries are charging. Yeah, I could take off because I'm charging the controller and I'm charging the, it's got a button you push on, it says home. And you press that button and the drone will come right exactly where it took off from. Because it makes note. It knows from where it took off. And then you fly it around, wherever you fly it around. And then you can fly it back and land it on the high top table. Or you can just press the home button which I believe is this button right here. It says home. Yep. You press that button and the drone will come home all by itself from wherever it is, assuming it's flying around in the air somewhere. So instead of worrying about how to get it here and there, it'll fly around obstacles and it'll get itself to land exactly where it took off from the high top table out on the balcony. Because it won't forget. And it knows that it's on the 8th story. I mean, it knows three-dimensionally where the high top table is, as opposed to the apartment above. That's what I like to do, is fly the drone straight up and just look in the windows of the apartment above. I don't even know if I don't think there's anyone living in there. They used to have a dog, and they'd let the dog on the balcony, and it would sniff and this and that. I don't know. I think they got rid of the dog. It barked too much, and I think the neighbors complained. Poor dog would cry, if the people went somewhere. And they go somewhere all the time. They lock the dog up in, a back bedroom or something. And I could hear it crying through the cement. It was sad, actually, because the poor thing would, it was crying. You could tell from the voice of the dog. It's not like it was crying tortured. It was crying because it had a broken heart, because they wouldn't be. The dog was so happy to be around people, and it was so unhappy when it was by itself. And it wasn't trained very well, to be good, to be pleasant, to sit in its little bed, or something, and just chew on a bone and then take a nap, You can, there's certain things, the dogs are not, they're not stupid. They are very trainable. If you don't have a clue, you should, and if we were to get a dog, I would go to a dog training session or 2 or 3, and just have them teach me how to deal with the dog, There's hand signals you can do with the dog. There's voice things you can do with the dog, or both. So, I have 2 cats, so I just trained them using my own common sense. Sometimes common sense ain't very common. There's something about if you get that logo coming up on your Gmail account that you're under attack. I'll have to. So you can highlight this. And then look it up. This message could be a scam warning. There we go. What do you do when you see this message? You have one new notification. Your account, 416.1100 has 2-step verification. If you ever lose your verification device, backup codes can help you sign in to your account. Well, thank you for that message. I'm aware of that. Help Center, community All right, there we go. I'm not under attack. There you go, that's a nice little flag. How Trump has... Oh, so this is a picture in my file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the 3-button thing here and say duplicate it. All right, let's see where that flag went. Oh, it's right there next to it. So now I'm going to edit this second one. Well, let's try this. Let's try to get rid of these words. And with this special tool, look at that. That's magical. So let's get rid of these words up here. Let's get rid of the word flip. Get rid of this indication down there. Get rid of that. Now let's go to square. We want to have a perfect square. Square. There it is. Looking good. I'm going to come back here and get rid of that black. Look at that. No words. A thing of beauty. Adjust. Hey, how you doing, cat? Let's hit that. Shadow. Shadow detail. Let's come up here and let's intensify the red a little bit. Very nice. Isn't that nice flag? Yeah. Beautiful. See, we started out with that. How Trump is remaking one agency to aid his deportation push. That's Homeland Security. I think he is squeezing Homeland Security Agency to really get rid of these illegals. And in the meantime, we've got a beautiful flag. Very nice. Yeah, that's the magic of digital imaging. Right there in front of you. We started out with that. We ended up with that. There we go. Zelensky is he's in deep trouble. He's got to stop this war before he runs out of people. Russia will just grind him down. And grind him down. If it takes 20 years, he'll grind them down until they run out of anybody that can hold a rifle. And they'll keep, it's like cancer, keep on spreading out, and they'll just take over his country. And he's like saying, what are we going to do? We ain't going to do crap. We can threaten and hope. And Putin has met Trump enough. He knows Trump he's not someone to screw with because he'll just pounce on you. Yeah, he just super pounce. This coach had an inappropriate relationship with someone either on his team. All right, I think I have a hungry cat. All right, we're done. We hit the two. Okay, coming. We're going to go. We're going to say goodbye because my cats rule. And that guy is screaming his brains out. Oh, I have to sign off the proper way. And the proper way is to have this in full screen mode. Well, there it is. This has to be full screen mode. There we go. There we go. That's it. Now we have to say goodbye. And now I can say goodbye. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my banter. We got into drones. I took it out of the case. I'm charging the batteries. I just leave these things plugged in all day here and get them charged up properly. In the meantime, you all have a great afternoon. It's 1:09 p.m. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 7 minutes. I've hit my limit. My cat says, say hello to me. It's lunchtime. I need my lunchtime rub down. Cats rule.